there, who's ready to crush some literal equations? My name is Don Subsick, founder of Math Celebrity, and in this video I'm going to walk you through and hold your hand and show you how to solve literal equations. First I'll show you the formulas and theory behind it, and then I'll give you a quick demo of the calculator. If you're already on the Math Celebrity site, you know about the calculator, but if you're not, I'll give you a quick demo at the end. So first, what is a literal equation? It's an equation which solves for a variable, but the result contains more variables. Now, how is this different from regular equations? Regular equations, the answer is numeric, but literal equations, answers contain variables as well. And it's important to note literal equations are a bedrock of algebra. So any algebra tests you take, any placement exams involving algebra, literal equations will creep up in the exam all the time. So it's important that you understand the fundamentals behind them. So if you're ready to learn more, let's get started. So while you're solving literal equations, it's important to have a good strategy. And one strategy I like to use, especially on Math Celebrity, is the principle of opposites. So in real life, to put out a fire, what do firefighters use? They use water. If they want to counteract an acid spill, they're going to use a base. For literal equations, you want to isolate the variable to solve for and move everything else to the other side of the equal sign. And once you do that, or to do that, you're going to use the principle of opposites. Now, what you're looking at is an opposites chart. These are operations you're going to use, and you've seen these in math, but you're going to see them in literal equations. And on the left side, you're going to see the original operator. So when you're isolating your variable, you're going to use the opposite operator to undo what's been done to get the variable isolated. So for addition, you're going to use subtraction. For subtraction, you use addition. Multiplication, you use division. Division, you use multiplication. And for exponents, you're going to use roots. So if the exponent's 2, you're using a square root. If it's 4, you're using the fourth root. And I want to show you how to do this next. So first, let's take a simple literal equation with addition. X plus y equals 2, and we want to solve for x. So I've written out these 6 to 7 steps for you to solve literal equations where you have one step and you're going to isolate a variable. So first, we want to determine everything on the left side of the equation, which is not our variable to solve for. And I say left because x is already there. So we want to keep x where it's at, but we want to get everything else out of the way, either eliminated or moved, so we can just isolate x. Next, for each item, we're going to find the opposite operator to eliminate it. And that's the grid we looked at on the last slide. Now in this problem, we're adding y, so we want to remove y, plus y. And how do we do that? We subtract y, since subtraction undoes addition. So in step 5, we're going to subtract y from each side of this equation. And in step 6, the y's, plus and minus, cancel on the left side, and we're left with x equals 2 minus y. So as you can see, a simple step using the opposites helped us solve this literal equation. Now let's do the exact same literal equation on the next slide, but we're going to do subtraction. So instead of x plus y equals 2, we've got x minus y equals 2. And we're going to take the exact same steps, we're just changing the opposite operator. So we want to get rid of the minus y on the left side, which will get us our x isolated. So we're going to add y this time to both sides, since plus y will eliminate minus y. And as you can see in step 6, the minus and plus y's cancel, and we're left with our answer, which is x equals 2 plus y. So we've covered addition and subtraction, and those are fairly easy to get in 1 and 2 step literal equations. Now let's move to the next operator, multiplication. So here's a common literal equation you'll see on your math homework and you'll see on exams. A equals BH. So this is a common formula for triangles, area equals base times height. Now sometimes it's worthy to note BH may be LWH, so area or volume equals length times width times height. The key here, no matter how many letters you see in formulas like this, you want to get rid of everything but the variable we want to solve for. So first, determine everything on the, I say left side, but this time it's right side. It depends where the B is. So on this problem, it's on the right side. We want to find the opposite operator to eliminate it. Well, notice BH is really B times H. So we've got multiplication, we've got one variable we need to get rid of on the right side. What we need is divided by H, since division undoes multiplication. So what we're going to do is divide each side of this equation by H. So as we do that, we've got A over H equals BH over H. And when we cancel on the right side, the H's cancel. So when we simplify in step 6, we've got B equals A divided by H. And we got that because we used division to undo multiplication. So let's look at the next operator. We want to undo division this time. So we've got A equals B divided by H. And this time we want to solve for B. So again, I said the left side of the equation. In this example, it was the right. For each item, we want to find the opposite operator. Well, we only have one variable we need to get rid of on the right side, and that's H. How do we do that? Because we're dividing by H, we need to multiply by H to get rid of the division, since multiplication undoes division. So we're going to multiply the left and right side by H. So we're left with AH equals B times H over H. Now the H's cancel on the right side because H divided by H is 1 and B times 1 is B. So we're left with B equals A times H. Let's move to one more operation and how to undo it. This time we're looking at exponents. So we've got y equals x squared, or some people say x to the power of 2. We want to solve for x in this equation. Well, the good news is there's only a variable x on the right side. But our challenge is, how do we get rid of the exponent? So in this problem, we want to remove the power of 2, or the squared power. To do that, we need a root. We need to take the root. This is the root symbol right here, since roots undo exponents. So we're going to take the square root of both sides. So we're left with the square root of y equals the square root of x squared. Now, the square root of a square is just the first power. So simplifying, we're left with x equals the square root of y. So as you can see, the square root, or a root in this case, undoes exponents. And that's how you isolate literal equations with exponents in them. So we'll walk through one more literal equation that you'll see on your homework and exams, and this is factoring. Now we're not using the opposite principle on this one, but we're using a trick to isolate your variable. So this time our literal equation is Q equals 3 times A plus 5 times A times C. And what we want to do is solve for A. Now the challenge in this problem is there's more than one A term in this problem. But we can still use part 1 of our principles, which is isolate. So we want the A terms all isolated on one side of the equation. In this case, they're isolated on the right side. That's the good news. Step 2 is, how do we isolate 1A? Well, if you take a closer look at the right side, is there anything you can factor out from those terms? 3 and 5 don't have any common factors. There's only one C in one term, but I do see an A, or some people like to say A to the first power, in both terms. So let's go ahead and factor out A. We're left with, in step 2, Q equals A times the quantity 3 plus 5C. Well, now we're cooking because we've got our A isolated. And now we can use the principle of opposites. How do we get rid of the 3 plus 5C that's multiplied by A? Well, if we're multiplying, we undo with division. So let's divide both sides of the equation by the quantity 3 plus 5c. And so in step 5, we can cancel that division because 3 plus 5c over 3 plus 5c is 1, and 1 times a is a. So we're left with our answer of a equals q divided by the quantity 3 plus 5c. So this is a neat little problem because not only do you use the principle of opposites later in the problem, you're going to use factoring. And the hint to factoring when you use it is your term to solve for in more than one term. So is your variable to solve for found in more than one term. So we've covered all the operations that we want to use the principle of opposites. We've covered the factoring trick to isolate a variable if you find it in more than one term. Now let's bring this lesson on home. So in conclusion, there's a little three-letter word I like to use, I.E.E. Isolate, eliminate, and evaluate. So isolate you learned in all the prior problems. You want to get all the terms containing the variable you want to solve for to one side of the equation, either the left or the right, whatever's easier for you. Step 2, eliminate. So any time you can use the principle of opposites, eliminate terms so you can isolate your variable. And step 3 is evaluate. Make sure your final answer is simplified. Are you left with the one variable you want to solve for? Can you simplify any of the numbers or the powers? And that's it. So I.E.E. isolate, eliminate, and evaluate. So if you're on the Math Celebrity site right now, you already know about the calculator. But if you're finding us right now from YouTube, let me give you a quick demo of the calculator. So if you go to the description in the comments, you'll find a link directly to the literal equation calculator. But if you're just browsing around our site, always start with the search engine here. So we're going to do, let's do the simple problem, A equals B times H. So we'll go ahead and click. Now, it's going to ask you, you entered the literal equation A equals BH. Which variable would you like to solve for? Well, in the problem in our slides, we chose B. So we'll go ahead and click B. And so it's going to walk you through the problem step by step. And as you can see, to undo multiplication, we're doing division. So we divide each side by H. Come on down here to the next step. We can cancel H on the right side of the equation. So we're left with B equals A divided by H. And so that's how the calculator works. And let me do one more because I know addition and subtraction are very common. So we'll do our plus y equals 3. So we'll go ahead and run that. And you get a couple choices here. We want to choose the solve the literal equation for the variable x. So we'll go ahead and click that. And again, the principle of opposites dictates that because we've added a y to eliminate it, we want to subtract y, which is what we're doing here. After we subtract y, we're left with x equals, you could state this two ways, minus y plus 3 or 3 minus y. And that, my friends, is how you conquer literal equations. So again, my name is Don Sevcik, founder of Math Celebrity. I want to thank you for watching this video and stay tuned because I got more tutorials coming your way.